Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got.
Cheers.
Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go.
Apparently, the Neutral Ground program has been canceled for the next 2 hours. 4 straight reruns of Cheers from 40 years ago. What a nightmare. Doesn't Nick at Night exist? By the way, no Woody Harrelson. It's going to be the old guy bartending. All right, just fooling on a Monday, a post-Easter Monday. Ramadan's still rolling along. You Arabs out there, you Muslims are fasting right now. No water, no food, no nothing until about 27, 28, 7:29. I think a lot of Muslims go on the Saudi Arabian time chart. Although some say in New Orleans, it would be, say, 7:27. In Metairie, 7:28. In Kenner, 7:29 because the sun is setting towards the west. Anyway, no eating or drinking from dusk till dawn if you're fasting during Ramadan. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. An absolutely gorgeous day. A little bit cool. It wasn't cold, but it's definitely not hot and humid out there. Kind of cool this morning, cool breeze, kind of nice. Like I said, not the usual hot heat and humidity we normally get this time of year in April. Hopefully, it will last into this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't look like we're going to hit the 80s over that 4-day period. And why is Thursday through Sunday so significant? Because it is the 40th year of French Quarter Fest. Yeah, you're right, 4 straight days. Some folks say those 4 days of French Quarter Fest draw a larger overall crowd than 7 days of Jazz Fest. Some folks also say the largest free festival in North America. You got to pay for food and drinks and the like, but there is no entrance fee. There are no gates. There are no fences. It's wide open. It's on Waldenberg Park, the Moonwalk, Jackson Square, stage on Royal Street, stage on Bourbon Street. Heck, they might expand it one day all the way over to Armstrong Park, which would be pretty amazing. It's already pretty amazing. A little different from Jazz Fest. Instead of festival food, it's some of New Orleans' finest restaurants serving a dish or two at a greatly reduced price, like appetizer prices for, I would say, dishes that are more than an appetizer and maybe a little less than an entree, somewhere in between. For appetizer prices, what you'd pay for an appetizer, even less at some of these fine dining establishments in New Orleans. One could easily argue French Quarter Fest has better food than Jazz Fest. What do you think? Rouse's Market's phone lines are open. 504-766-9480. That's how you dial us up. 766-9480. Rouse's Market's phone lines to participate. You're going to need that number because I'm giving away some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. 5 locations of the Woodhouse to serve you now in the metro area. 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore. The Baton Rouge location by the Mall of Louisiana, that's 5. Yeah, it is the city's premier day spa experience, the Woodhouse Day Spa. Hey, guys, an unexpected gift for her is a Grand Slam home run. Get her what she wants. a day of relaxation at the Woodhouse Day Spa. I've got a handful of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Yeah, you right, on this gorgeous Monday. Hey, in about 10 minutes, New Orleans restaurateur Dickie Brennan's going to join us on the program, talk about some of his restaurants and his newly acquired one, Pascal's Manale, on Napoleon Avenue, now under the Dickie Brennan family of restaurants. 5 o'clock powwow, Brett Martel will join us. Another Martel Monday. Brett's been with the Associated Press for over 25 years. Yeah, French Quarter Fest this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, you, right. The Louisiana legislative session starts today. Yeah, you, wrong. What a disappointing group for decades, for generations. Almost worthless. We should sub it out to like Minnesota or, some state that's sort of well run. They're going to take on a slew of topics: abortion, education, criminal justice reform, weed, property insurance, income tax, spending the surplus that's expected to be north of $2 billion, LGBTQ. Speaking of billions, almost $46 billion budget for the state of Louisiana. Almost $46 billion. That's just crazy. Speaking of crazy, absolutely loony, just talk about regressive. Hey, let's go back in time to a bad part of time. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. Tate, what an interesting first name. Hello, Tate. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves signed a proclamation declaring April Confederate Heritage Month. Confederate Heritage Month. Something we have to look back upon. Why? Why Confederate Heritage Month? The definition of heritage: a special or individual possession. Behaviors that we draw from. Yeah, like let's never go back. Absolutely insane. Dude, it wasn't about slavery. It was about the Southern way of life. Slavery was just the biggest part of it. Sheesh. Unbelievable. I like displaying the stars and bars because this house is protected by Smith & Wesson. That fat dude with the beard that has this truck protected by Smith & Wesson, most likely to shoot himself in the foot. The dog, the wife, the children, anyone but the perpetrator coming in his house. One part the protected by Smith & Wesson folks just sort of ignore, that they're oblivious to. Like Navy SEALs and Army Rangers and SWAT, police types. They don't shoot nearly as well during a confrontation as they do at the range. But the Smith & Wesson guy thinks he's going to shoot just as well in a confrontation as he is during shooting at the range. I shoot pretty well at the range. I doubt I would shoot pretty well if someone's firing bullets at me. I just focus in and shoot the target. Doesn't matter if bullets are flying by me. I go to the driving range to hit golf balls, and I hit them better than I do on the golf course when it matters. Just how life is. This is a disgusting story. A Canadian couple, tourists, they didn't want to come to New Orleans because of crime. Their local friend talked them into coming. Their truck gets stolen on the Basin Street parking lot, right across the street from the 1st District Police Station. You think you'd have just a totally safe spot right there. But the brazen criminals in New Orleans do not care. Willie Mae's Scotch House damaged by a fire. That's about a block or so behind Dookie Chase Restaurant right off Orleans. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Speaking of restaurants, with this gorgeous weather, how about some outdoor dining at Lebanon's Cafe? Under the green awning, on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, in the Carrollton section of Uptown. How about some lamb chops? 20-something bucks. 6 lamb chops, a little grilled veggie medley on the side, and then you still get to pick 2 Middle Eastern sides with those lamb chops. 20-something bucks. Tough to beat Lebanon's Cafe, some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Tough to beat this weather. Outdoor dining tonight at Lebanon's Cafe. Speaking of restaurants, Dickie Brennan joins us next on the program.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Hey, Latrim, the global manufacturing giant, is hiring. This company's amazing. J.M. LePere invented the shrimp peeling machine. That led to the all-plastic modular conveyor belt. Those two things are the industry standard around the world. They are a world leader, a manufacturing giant, born, bred, and based out of New Orleans. And because of their insane growth, they've been growing steadily around the world for about the last 30 years straight, and they continue to have prolific growth. Because of that, they're hiring. If you go to their website, latrim.com, they have a full listing of positions available, and it's not like 2 or 3 job openings. It's dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. You East Bankers and West Bankers, they've got you covered at their Elmwood facility. North Shore folks, just beeline down I-12. They've got a facility right outside of Hammond for you. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. A culture of innovation at Latrim. Corey Johnson with you Monday afternoon. Gorgeous weather day. Really nice weather day. This guy's been in the restaurant business his entire life, literally. Probably washing dishes before he could drive at one of the family restaurants. Now he's got his own family of restaurants, plural, about a half dozen or so. You know the name. Dickie Brennan joins us live on the program. How you doing, Dickie?
Sure, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. A pleasure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Every time I mention your name to somebody in or around the restaurant business, the first thing out of the mouth, what a nice guy. What a good guy. Every time.
Oh, thank you, man. That means a lot.
No, I'm telling you. Hey, what was the first gig you had, and which family restaurant was it? Were you washing dishes, bussing tables as like a 12-year-old or what?
I can't help but think back. I mean, we bought Commander's Palace in 1969, and I was 9 years old, and I lived 2 blocks away. And that summer, they had an old dishwasher that was those long conveyor belts. And my older cousin Owen and I, we were given the responsibility to wash dishes, but he would load them. And this machine was so old, it wouldn't stop, and it didn't have so he'd load more plates than I could take off. And those things were so hot. And if you're on the other end trying to take off the hot plates, he and I had it out the whole summer. But we talked about that not too long ago. I mean, good memories, man. Growing up in a restaurant is, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it was a beautiful life, certainly for me, and I think all my family members loved growing up in the restaurant.
The conveyor belt not stopping. It's like an I Love Lucy, Laverne and Shirley episode or something.
It was exactly, picture it. And I mean, and Owen. I mean, Owen just, put the fear of God in you. You're like, I don't want to mess with him. And I mean, to not be taken off the plate, it was just the whole summer, man. A lot of stress.
Hey, Dickie, what was your first restaurant? What was the first restaurant you opened under Dickie Brennan?
Well, that would have been Palace. When I was in high school, we opened up Mr. B's, and, I mean, that's the first time. I mean, I was with Dad and Ella. I mean, I was flying with Dad to Atlanta. I got some alarm going off here.
Uh-oh. You want to handle that?
It's my phone telling me that I'm supposed to talk to you.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
I don't know how to do that.
Boy, you mentioned Mr. B's.
If you can't hear it, then fine.
No, I can't hear it at all. Mr. B's is absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's sort of an, I don't want to say under the radar restaurant. It's been around forever, but a lot of folks maybe forget about it, locals, and just hard to get a bad meal over there. Great gumbo, that filet over the wood fire. Pretty darn good restaurant. But Palace Cafe was your first on Canal Street?
Yes. And that was I came home around 90. I was in Houston. My cousin Alex and I were running Brennan's restaurant in Houston. And we were looking around to do the next restaurant for the family. And we found, the Werline family was looking to move off Canal Street. And so we did a deal with them. I came home, worked out at Commander's, and we totally renovated the building and came up with the menus and the concept, the whole deal. And it was my first baby. My cousin T came and joined me, and my sister Lauren and my cousin Brad eventually came and joined us. So we were going to call the restaurant Cousins, and then we got a call from an attorney saying there's this Subway company up north called Cousin Subway, and they were going to take it national, and they had trademarked the name. So it ended up becoming Palace Cafe. But boy, what a great opportunity for me and my family, and and have just continued to live a dream. I mean, to be in the restaurant business in New Orleans, it doesn't get any better. So, and to have the support of a great family, that I have, I've lived the dream, man. That's all I can say.
That iconic Werline's building, and you guys make it the Palace Cafe, 2 stories, the big winding stairwell in the middle, and then the iconic sign, the light bulb Palace Cafe sign. That's kind of become part of New Orleans.
Yeah, it's so typical up and down Canal Street, and they had the Werline's music store, and so, we were like, well, we need to let people know there's a restaurant here. So we put it up there, and, if to hear someone like you say iconic, that nothing makes me feel better. I mean, I'm glad people feel like it's something that adds to the street. So,
well, it's great too. I mean, post-Corona, COVID, a lot of restaurants now have outdoor dining, but sadly, New Orleans, with our great weather, I mean, pre-Corona, I'm talking just like 3-4 years ago, maybe a dozen or 2 restaurants tops with outdoor dining, which is absolutely insane. New York, I'd say a good 40-50% of all restaurants have outdoor dining, and they have crappy weather a lot of the time. Palace Cafe's always had that outdoor dining, upstairs, downstairs. Pretty nice place and a great addition to Canal Street.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they had these strict regulations when we're renovating, and all the shops up and down the street were rolling out like hangers, where it was all this stuff out on the street. And so they finally passed an order and said nothing could be on the street, trying to just clean the boulevard up. And so we're like, geez, and we want to put a cafe. We know that you can't put rolling racks and signage, but we want to put a European cafe out in front of this grand cafe we're doing. And at the time, so they're like, well, we don't, it's city property, so we're going to have to come up with a lease to lease the sidewalk. And so my partner nowadays, Steve Pettis, worked with the city. And so unfortunately, now everybody has to rent the sidewalk, because that's what we had to do. And we had to help write the first sidewalk lease for the city of New Orleans, so we could put this cafe out front. So, it's interesting, just, with history and taxes and leases and all these different things, why we don't have overhangs or whatever, It all kind of boils down to taxes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. And just maybe New Orleans not being the most forward-thinking place at times. Dickie Brennan's with us. Hey, Dickie, Palace Cafe. First off, I mentioned Mr. B's and the gumbo, Palace Cafe and the gumbo, your cousins, your relatives. You can go almost into any Brennan's restaurant, and the gumbo is going to be fantastic. What's the deal with that?
When we were kids, our family bought a restaurant on the Gulf Coast in 1960, the Friendship House. And anybody that made Gulf Coast gumbo, the old Gulf Coast seafood, they would get they called them gumbo crabs from the crabbers. And it was the light crabs that they weren't going to pick. And back then they'd give them to us. And these old Creole chefs on the Gulf Coast, they would roast these crabs in the oven. It wasn't the best aroma. But then they would run a stock, with some mirepoix with these roasted crabs. and just reduce it down. A nice stock. And to this day, if I eat a seafood gumbo, if it doesn't have that crab stock in it, for me, it's like, well, we're missing something here. We're just adding seafood. But if you take the time, and now you got to pay a little bit more to get the crabs, but that's, to me, that's the key ingredient. A great roasted crab stock in a seafood gumbo is going to give you that flavor, and if you had it, you remember it. And so we continue to do that, and, happy to do it because I like the way it tastes too.
Plus, always the bowl coming empty and then the waiter pouring it in from a silver cup.
It's been done forever. And, any restaurant I remember growing up in, that's how we did it. And it was, we wanted you to have a hot, warm bowl and put it in the bouillon cup and bring it out. It was maybe part of the service, but maybe it helped to control the temperatures and make sure everything was good and hot.
A lot of folks, speckled trout, flounder, drum. That catfish pecan dish you guys serve at the Palace Cafe is one of the best fish dishes in the city.
Well, thank you, man. So years when I was a kid, one day my dad walks into Commander's. This is probably in the 70s, and Paul Prudhomme's our chef, and he's, in all the restaurants in New Orleans, it was trout, almond, bean.
Yeah.
And so he walks in Commander's, he goes, Paul, I've never seen an almond tree around here, but I'm stepping on pecans walking in the restaurant. Why don't we do a trout pecan? Which became Commander's signature, No,
it is. Hey, Dickie, hold that thought. We're going to come right back. I got to take this quick break. We'll come right back about Paul Prudhomme and trout pecan. Dickie Brennan's with us, New Orleans.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top bench more exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Dickie Brennan is with us too. Hey, Dickie, I get Frank Brightson on the program every Friday for a few minutes. He worked at Commanders, worked with K. Paul. He's told the story, at least part of it, what you were just telling. So, yeah, everybody had the French dish, the trout almondine. But K. Paul Prudhomme said, I don't see any almond trees around, but
I'm walking to work. I'm stepping on pecans. I've never seen a almond tree. Let's make trout pecan. And so Paul went ahead and did trout pecan. And he also did Dad. You know, Paul used to tell stories like your dad. I mean, it was one of these crazy nights. We were so busy. He says I was on the line trying to help. It was so bad. And he said he comes walks up to me. I thought he was trying to check on checks to see what was going on. He's looking a little bit, and next thing you know, he whistles there. He said, "You want to make a great dessert?" He's like, "Dick, I'm in the weeds here." And he says, "Let's make a bread pudding souffle." And he walked off, and he started extraditing on the other side. Just, come on, let's get it going here. And you know, Paul said, "Man, I couldn't concentrate all night." He says, "I went home." He says, "Thought about it all night." He said, "I walked in the next day. I had it all mapped out in my head. I made it, and the rest is history." You know, it was just meant to be. So those two had a lot of fun. Dad was all about local and farm the table way before anybody was doing that. You know, I mean, all the old fine dining restaurants in America were French and German, Italian. He's like, we're an American restaurant. That's what Commander's kind of pioneered, being an American restaurant instead of a French or Italian or German restaurant. So I got to grow up with all that greatness. But when we were doing Palace, you know, and it was a cafe. So it was our generation trying to do the next version of a formal Commander. So, and I wanted to have better value dishes, but I wanted to have, you know, quality. So, you know, I started getting the catfish, wild catfish from Des Allemands, you know, proud of this great fresh catfish that I could run for less of a price than they were running trout pecan at Commanders. And, you know, I put in a rotisserie. Instead of doing rack of lamb, we did leg of lamb. So, I mean, I had all the same, you know, quality, fresh stuff, but I was using, you know, everybody wants the filet, you know, and I was saying, all right, give me the skirt steak, you know. So, I mean, that was how catfish pecan ended on the menu at Palace. And to this day, you know, it's one of our signatures. So
it is. It's as good as it gets. It's hard for me to get off of that when I go there. And I mean, just
I eat it all the time, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And why copy the Commander's restaurant exactly? That you go to Commander's for that. You know, that's brilliant. Just the slight changes.
Yeah. So, you know, it worked for us over the years. And I can't believe Palace is 30 years old. I'm getting old.
Yep, you are. We are. And I can't believe it's 30 years old either. What a great spot. All right, what was restaurant number 2 for the Dickie Brennan family of restaurants?
Dickie Brennan Steakhouse.
All right. And was that space always available? Did y'all cut out part of the existing parking garage? What's the story there?
So, you know, back in the 70s when Dad, they were, you know, they had left Brennan's in 74 and they went up to Commanders. And it was like 78, 79. They wanted to do the next thing, and that was Mr. B's. And they had this idea, we're going to do an American bistro. And I don't know if you know the history of Mr. B's or whatever, but it really kind of pioneered. And certainly you look around this city, I mean, all the restaurants, you know, we had neighborhood restaurants, and all of a sudden we had these great young chefs cooking in neighborhood restaurants. Mr. B's pioneered that. I mean, Kevin visited, everybody worked there, and a lot of them worked under Gerard Morris, but it was about doing, you know, a bistro style restaurant. And so it was in a parking garage, and it was a bunch of units, you know, connected. Dad's sitting there looking, he's like, I bet I can knock out all these small little stores. I'm looking at the building and put in one nice bistro. And they were looking for property, but he had looked at where the steakhouse is too, but the steakhouse was a bigger basement. And so we did Mr. B's, but for years, I was like, I love the concept of putting a restaurant on the ground floor of a parking lot, certainly in the French Quarter, because you can park. I mean, my customers can drive down there and pull in and park and not have to worry about parking.
Yep.
And it worked so well for us at Mr. B's. So years later, I was like, look, there's a lot of space, you know, that I can develop and turn into the steakhouse and have parking on top of me. So that's kind of what drove that one. It was a little bit crazy because, you know, majority of that was below ground, and man, that was a fun build out, but so proud of it and glad we did it. You know, it's just, I love the feel of it, and, you know, everything we had hoped we could do there is, you know, we've been fortunate to live that dream. So that was a good one.
I don't really count cultureless Las Vegas in this, but per capita, New Orleans might have as many prime steakhouses as anywhere in the country. Percentage-wise, I mean, probably more than New York or Chicago even, because we have about a tenth of their population.
I mean, look, I'm proud of the history of steakhouses in New Orleans. And, you know, if you really go back, I mean, the Spanish brought cattle into America. I mean, Louisiana territory was occupied by the Spanish. I mean, we brought cattle in. I mean, Shannon Gosselin, who's, you know, his family's operation over in New Iberia. I mean, it was the second licensed cattle operation in Louisiana, and the first one's been long gone. I mean, and I keep saying to Shannon, hey, you got to reset. I mean, y'all might be the oldest in America. So, I mean, we have a rich history of cattle, and, you know, and what I love now is in the last 30 years, I've been trying to get Louisiana cattlemen, because what happened over the years is we raise the cattle, and within a year or so, they're selling all these cattle and they're going west. And then eventually they come back and you don't know what's coming back. So, I mean, we've been working on trying to keep cattle here. And, man, we're doing more of that than we've ever done. And so, I mean, hopefully in the real short term here, there's this one group, Coastal Plains, that they're working on trying to pull all the small cattlemen together. They're going to put in a great processing facility to where we can keep the cattle here. You know, all the processing facilities are, you know, just couldn't compete with the big boys out west, you know, but it's coming back, man. You might have some exciting news for y'all in the near future. Some things we're working on right now.
Hey, Ruth Fertel, Delmonico, they all started here. Was that any kind of influence? Was that part of the reason of, hey, we can do a steakhouse?
So it might have been in 1972. My dad had a concept to do a steakhouse, and he wanted to call it the Inner Circle because he wanted to put the chefs out in the restaurant cooking the steaks. And the other reason he wanted to do it is because we were Irish run the French restaurant. And, you know, it just didn't feel right trying to run a French restaurant and being an Irishman. So he's like, I'm an American. And the one thing we do better than anybody around the world is cattle and beef. So his dream, his vision was, I want to open a steakhouse. And it was all on the drawing boards and everything. And unfortunately, it typically happens with families. We had a little disagreement with the family members, and we went through this split up of Brennan's and Brennan's restaurant. And my dad's oldest brother had 3 sons. They took Brennan's on Wall Street, and then my dad with his brothers and sisters moved to Commander. So, I mean, that project went on the back burner, and they had to start over at Commander's. And then when they were coming out of it, it just made more sense to do a bistro than the steakhouse. And so, I mean, he and I, whenever we traveled, and God bless him, he thought the greatest exposure in the world was to take people traveling, which he did with me and my sister, but he did it with all the people that work with us or whatever. But any city we went to, he and I went and went to the steakhouse, you know, and it was just his dream or whatever. And then, so I just wanted to do that steakhouse, and I had that opportunity. I thought it was a great location to do it. And, so we did it, and my dad had retired, and instead of going to Commander's every day, he'd go over to Pels. You know, my sister and I were going between the restaurants, and he wouldn't come over to the steakhouse. And I kept like going, everybody's asking about you. Why don't you come over here? He's like, oh, no, I don't want to go over there. And I finally pulled that out. He says, if they see me in there, they're going to think it's my restaurant. I had nothing to do with this. You've done it. I'm not coming in there, you know, whatever. And I said, get over it. Come with me. But he was just like your dad. We had some incredible parents, and man, I miss him. Talking about it right now, man, it's killing me because he was so good to me. But he had great vision, and you know, and for me to be able to do that steakhouse with all the years that we, you know, loved it and lived it and dreamed about it. Very special, very special.
Was the inner circle like the chefs would be in the center of the restaurant cooking out in the open?
That was, you know, and that's what we did with Mr. B's is we did an exposed kitchen. I mean, nobody had open kitchens back then. And the other thing they put in Mr. B's was a wood burning grill. And I mean, literally we had to go to, might have been Vulcan, one of the big commercial, you know, oven companies, because nobody back then, I mean, everybody converted from wood to gas, electricity. So, I mean, of course, they were circling back, and they're like, I want the wood flavor. And, you know, and I don't know if you know this, but Paul Prudhomme had met Kay, and I mean, he fell in love with Kay, and he's like, you know, was our chef going to all our restaurants, and he's like, I just want this woman, we just want to open a little Cajun restaurant in the French Quarter. You know, I don't want to do, you know, what y'all have. I love y'all, but I can't do all that. And so he literally wrote the menu for Mr. B's and K. Paul's at the same time.
Wow.
And man, I'd go hit Commander's like after school, and he'd have 30 shrimp dishes out, you know, and the shrimp chipple. I mean, some of these dishes that came out, I mean, there'd be 20 of them, and I'm like going, I like them all.
Hold that thought, Dickie. Hang on 1 second. Hold that thought about the shrimp dishes. Coming right back.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Dickie Brennan's with us. So you're trying all these experimental Paul Prudhomme shrimp dishes, Dickie?
But the other thing they were doing is they were trying to do the wood burn and grill, and they wanted to bring, because everybody was eating trout and whatever, and nobody was eating redfish, and Paul was kind of overseeing all of our family restaurants, and we had this German guy, Gerhard Brill, and Gerhard's at Commanders, and this guy was classically trained. He taught us all so much stuff, but he loved the fish. And he loved redfish, and he'd bring the damn redfish into the restaurant and put our Creole seasoning on, throw it on the flat top, and just called it grilled redfish or whatever. So Paul's like, all right, with using the seasoning, we're gonna introduce redfish in restaurants, and so. At Mr. B's, we did hickory grilled redfish, and then he did the blackened seared redfish at K. Paul's, and that kind of changed the New Orleans restaurant scene a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's where that came from, But man, every day I'd go over there and he'd be knocking out all these different things and just developing these menus, and man.
I'm looking at the clock. We got about 5 minutes left. We're only on restaurant number 2. What was restaurant number 3, Dickie?
Bourbon House.
Bourbon House, which I believe is the number 1 restaurant in the city as far as business. Is that correct?
I know at one time we were very, very busy like that, but
it's humongous too. How many does that restaurant seat? A few hundred, right?
Yeah, we're close to 300.
That's amazing. That's a giant restaurant. That's a big operation.
It is. And, but, grew up at Commander's Palace. I don't, kind of in my DNA to do something where you have that scale. And what I loved about Commanders is we had so much resources because we had people and, we could do so much. It's like Dad getting pissed off because someone wants steak sauce with this. The steak that Commanders.
Do you have any A1?
Well, and so he grabs a bottle of Liam Perrins and he goes over to Emerald and he goes, look, here are all the ingredients. Let's make our own damn steak sauce. I'm tired of this. So, I mean, we started making the steak sauce. And Commander's was the restaurant that when they started doing the Nouvelle Beaujolais, and they bring these, the French would pick about 10 cities in America, and they would take these little mini wooden kegs. They put the Beaujolais in it, and they'd send it, you know, to that city, and Commanders would get it. So we had 2 or 3 of these empty little things, and man, we started making the Worcestershire, putting it in those little wood kegs.
Wow.
You know, and doing homemade Worcestershire. You know, when you have that type of a team with that much, you know, depth, and I mean, there was so much we could do.
Yep.
You know, and we had, you know, Dad and Manale, they were visionaries. So, I mean, you know, I like that because of the size of our restaurant, we could do like some incredible things that maybe we couldn't do if we were smaller.
What was next after Bourbon House?
Tableau
down by Jackson Square, right?
Yep, at Le Petit.
Yep, Le Petit Theater. And what after Tableau? Commissary, huh?
Actually, Acorn out at the new
at Noma
Children's Museum.
Oh, the Children's Museum. That's right.
Children's Museum.
Okay.
Acorn.
All right.
Which is just a wonderful. And that's what, you know, my nephew Jordy came. I mean, we really have the younger generation involved in that one. And I mean, I love everybody's feed. They love the menu. It's very progressive, upscale. It hits the mark for a kid, but the parents are loving the foods, and you know, and that's something that the next generation is in the lead doing that. So we're excited about that.
What a great name.
And then we did the commissary, and my daughter's home, and she's there, and so proud of what they're doing there. I mean, that's a whole different thing for us.
And lucky number 7 is Pascal's Manale.
Can you believe that? I still have to kind of make myself realize that just happened. I mean, everybody in the city grew up, you know, great memories of Pascal Manale's. The one that just rocks my world is the last time I took my dad out to a restaurant before he passed away. We went and had lunch there.
Wow.
And he and my mom loved going like everybody, you know, and, you know, to be able to, I mean, when I was 9 years old, we bought Commander's Palace, and I mean, my whole life was us being the next chapter of an incredible institute in New Orleans. And so, I mean, to now be able to play the next chapter in this incredible institute with my kids, my nieces and nephews, man, we just, I don't know. We want everybody to be real proud of what we're doing. Don't want to change it. I mean, my God, I can't believe the text I get. I'm like, my name's not going on it. We're not changing the menu. Quit. I mean, why would we do that?
Yeah, and you kept Thomas the Shucker, huh?
Yeah, look, Thomas, if Thomas has oyster elbow, part of that reason is because I always went. I mean, that was a getaway for me. If I was going down Napoleon Avenue or something, going between meetings, that's all I did was go in and hang with T and give me some oysters, brother.
Everybody talks about the barbecue shrimp over there. That combination pan roast is a signature dish as well. That's a fabulous dish.
I mean, that's all I do is make it at home. I mean, I love it. It's so Creole Italian.
It is.
I mean, it's just the epitome of Creole Italian. And
I'll get it to go, Dickie, and add like half a pound of crab meat to it and, you know, beef it up a little bit. Dickie, I could keep going into the 5 o'clock hour with you. Let's do this again really soon because there's a bunch of more stuff I'd love to talk to you about.
I'd love to, man. Let me know. Love to do it.
Dickie.
But thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
No, my pleasure. Congratulations on the latest Pascal's Manale on Napoleon.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. That's Dickie Brennan joining us. There's Blue Boy barking, telling me, hey, Corey, the 5 o'clock hour is coming up next. Thank you, Blue Boy, for the reminder. Wow, Palace Cafe, the Steakhouse, the Bourbon House, Tableau, Acorn, the Commissary, Pascal's Manale, Dickie Brennan, family of restaurants. 5 o'clock powwow is next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend and Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Come on down to New Orleans' own Bourbon Street, the toilet of the Crescent City. Literally. Need to urinate? Pee right on one of the historic buildings. Need to vomit? It's okay. Throw up right in the street. Bourbon Street. Prostitution, drugs, strip joints, daiquiri shops, and trinket stores. The toilet of the Crescent City. Come on down. It's Bourbon Street.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Anytime you need a friend.
Keeping your head above water, making a way when you can. Temporary layoffs, good times.
Easy credit ripoffs.
Good times.
This sounds like hanging in the toilet. But it's not. It's something else. It's not hanging in the toilet. Now, if you're on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, that could be hanging in the toilet. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. A Monday afternoon edition of the program. Jason, are you looking up the lyrics to Good Times? Why don't you pull that up? Because it isn't hanging in the toilet. That's what it is, hanging and jiving? That's what they're saying, hanging and jiving. Wow. Hanging and jiving. You sure? That doesn't sound right. Hanging and jiving, maybe. Hanging in a toilet. That's what it sounds like to me, but, you know. I had a kid that thought the song Ebony Eyes was Avenue 9. It ain't Avenue 9, dude. It's Ebony Eyes. Her eyes are ebony. Avenue 9. Hanging in a toilet is equally as bad. Hanging and jiving. I just don't think that's it. Hanging in a chow line. That's what it is. Hanging in a chow line. Hanging in a chow line. Wow. Scratching and surviving. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. 5 o'clock power hour. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Dickie Brennan was with us. 7 restaurants under the Dickie Brennan family of restaurants. Great stories. Great conversation. You can always check that out on YouTube if you missed the 4 o'clock hour. I think you'll enjoy it if you like New Orleans, history, food, all kind of good stuff from Dickie Brennan in the 4 o'clock hour. Hey, in about 30 minutes, Brett Martel will join us, another Martel Monday. Brett's been with the Associated Press for over 25 years. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Young's Dry Cleaning. For over 83 years, since 1940, truly a New Orleans institution. Look, I guess if you like your dry cleaner, I guess stick with them. But if you're not happy with your dry cleaner or you'd just like to experience the best, youngsdrycleaning.com. Walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations since 1940. A New Orleans tradition. youngsdrycleaning.com. 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Young's Dry Cleaning. Yeah, we got a slew of topics to discuss on this gorgeous day. What a nice day for April. Hopefully this, it's not a wintry mix, but it's not hot and humid. Hopefully these 60-degree temperatures stay with us through the end of this week, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week, it's the 40th French Quarter Fest. Yeah, you right. This weekend, starting on Thursday, 4 straight days. Some say the largest free festival in the United States. A lot of folks say a larger 4-day attendance at French Quarter Fest than the 7 days of Jazz and Heritage Festival that's a few weeks away. French Quarter Fest this weekend. Yeah, you right. Dickie Brennan joining us last hour. He's got a few of his restaurants out there. They've got a really cool po' boy dish. It's really a smart po' boy dish. It's like a roast beef steak debris po' boy. They also have shrimp. How they do it, they take the end of the bread, as we used to call it, the nose, and they simply hollow it out. So it's like this big tube, but with the end of the bread still intact. And then they ladle the debris beef and gravy into it, or the barbecue shrimp that are peeled in it, and you just kind of eat down on it so it doesn't get messy. It's not spilling all over your hands like a traditional po' boy, because it's all enclosed like in a tube of bread. Brilliant idea. You just work your way down, and really tasty, really good. And I forget the price, like $8 or $9, just ridiculously inexpensive. Like I said last hour, French Quarter Fest, you could easily argue, better food than Jazz Fest. We do have a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. They're now 5, count them, 5 area locations, 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore, also by the Mall of Louisiana in Baton Rouge. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate in the program, 766-9480. 766-9480. This New Orleans band's been around for like 45 years, literally, maybe like 45 years. I think they started playing most of their gigs at old Luigi's Pizza on Elysian Fields by UNO back in like the late 70s. This New Orleans band had their biggest album, most popular album sales-wise. It was called Law of the Fish. Law of the Fish. Name that band. 504-766-9480. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Hey, by the way, no cheating. No intranet device, no search engines, no DuckDuckGo, no Bing, no Yahoo, no Google. You either know the answer or you don't. New Orleans band, about 45 years into it, they had their most popular selling album known as Law of the Fish. You got answers? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Let's see. I can't even read my own writing, Jason. That's pathetic. Oh, all right. Hank, the owner, who is famous for sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off, owns which New Orleans iconic music club? Hank is the owner, and he's sort of famous in the neighborhood where his music club is because he wears sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off all the time. Which music club does Hank own? Sad story, Willie Mae's Scotch House damaged by a fire. What makes Willie Mae's fried chicken different from most fried chicken in New Orleans? What makes Willie Mae's fried chicken different from most fried chicken in New Orleans? You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480. I mentioned French Quarter Fest coming up this year. Why did they start French Quarter Fest in the first place 40 years ago? Why did they start French Quarter Fest 40 years ago? There's a specific reason. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa. 5 area locations, Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner. They're in Slidell, right off of I-10 and Gauze. They're in Mandeville, across from the Mandeville City Hall, East Causeway approach. And they're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. I got 4 questions. That means I've got 4 $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. Rouse's Markets phone number to participate, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. New Orleans band, their most popular album, Law of the Fish. Hank, who is famous for sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off, owns which local music club? What makes Willie Mae's Scotch House fried chicken different? And why was the French Quarter Fest started? 766-9480. The Louisiana legislative session started today. What a disappointing group. The 105 House reps, the 39 senators. A disappointing group for decades, for generations. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, speaking of disappointing, signing a proclamation declaring April Confederate Heritage Month. What an oxymoron, Confederate Heritage. You do that, Mississippi. By the way, Mississippi has the largest black population per capita of any U.S. state, 38%, 2 in 5. Confederate Heritage Month. How dopey is that? How crazy is that? Just insane. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Holla!
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 part-time employment and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, Rouse's Market's phone lines are open at 504-766-9480. Let's head to Gonzales. Lynn joins us on the program. How are you, Lynn?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Kaare?
I'm doing well, man. I love Lynn as a guy's name. There's a cat who runs Jefferson Feed. His name is Lynn. I saw him the other day when I was picking up some cat and dog food and treats. How's it going in Gonzales?
I think it means lake in Welsh.
What, Lynn does?
Yeah.
Wow. How do you spell Lynn? Lynn?
Yeah.
All right. And lake in Welsh.
That's what I think.
There you go.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
What's happening off the exit 177 off the I-10?
Oh, nothing, just traffic.
Boy,
traffic.
Boy, there's a lot of traffic, especially if you go, I guess it would be, I don't know, northwest. If you go up what essentially is Nicholson Drive.
Yeah, right. I'm right off of Highway 30.
You got, Highway 30, Cancer Alley, the gypsum pile. They need to get a snowmaking machine and have that as a ski area in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That pile is humongous, Lynn.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's still a good place. I'm retired now. I'm an ex-eye doctor.
Oh, wow. Good for you, man.
And but is it the radiators?
What's the radiators? The problem with your car overheating?
No, you were talking about the song.
I was talking about a New Orleans band, 40 plus years old. Their most popular album was Law of the Fish.
Yeah.
And you're saying
the radiators.
The radiators. You are correct, Lynn.
Yeah, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
I got $50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. There's a Baton Rouge location right by the Mall of Louisiana, probably 15 minutes from your house, 20 minutes away.
20 minutes away. I know where it is. It's right behind Oxford Clinic up here off of the interstate.
Yeah, off Blue Bonnet, off of, Mall of Louisiana Drive. They've expanded the interstate so you can make it there a little quicker. Boy, the traffic in the morning, once you get right past there, gets a little hairy heading into BR.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm being retired. I don't have to go up there anymore.
Yeah, there you go. You got a wife?
Yes, I do. In fact, she was also an eye doctor at Ochsner, as I have been.
Wow, good for you guys. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lynn, you can tighten her up with that $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate.
She'll love it.
Cool, man. Anything else?
Thank you so much. I watch you most afternoons.
Awesome, Lynn. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're the man. Hang on, all right, Lynn? Don't go anywhere. Hang on, Lynn. Jason's going to get some info from you. And we're going to tighten you up with a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. Lynn is in Gonzales. So, that Mall of Louisiana, right outside the Mall of Louisiana, Woodhouse Day Spa is for him. Not too far away, like I said. 5 locations, including 2 on the South Shore and now 2 on the North Shore. Mandeville opened about a month ago on the East Causeway approach across from the Mandeville City Hall. Rouse's Market's phone lines 504-766-9480. New Orleans band, 40 plus years, Law of the Fish, the Radiators. Hank, who is famous for sweatshirts with sleeves cut off, roams the neighborhood where his music club is located. Which music club does Hank own? Willie Mae's Scotch House caught fire last night, damaged by a fire. They promised to reopen soon. What makes Willie Mae's Scotch House fried chicken unique, different? Rouse's Market's phone line, 766-9480. Hey, why did the French Quarter Festival start 40 years ago? Rouse's Market's phone line, 766-9480. By the way, French Quarter Fest this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, you right. Let's head to the Crescent City, New Orleans. Jay joins us on the program. What you say, Jay?
Hey, what's going on, Corey? How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, man. What's on your mind, Jay?
Well, I want to answer the trivia question.
Which one specifically?
Well, I think it will be the one about the French Quarter Festival, 40 years, and why, what was the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, there's a specific reason why they came up with French Quarter Fest. Why?
Yes. So one of the reasons was to try to get people back to the French Quarter. 1984 World's Fair was over, and just trying to get people down there.
Yeah, that's a good enough answer, but there was it really wasn't World's Fair related. Why were they trying to get people back down there? Like, why were people not going down there?
Well, I'm going to take a guess here. I would say people weren't going to the French Quarter because, there's a lot of construction and just crime and everything else.
Well, not crime, but Dutch Morial rebuilt the sidewalks in the quarter. Lots of slate sidewalks. Project took longer than expected. It kind of kept people away from going to the quarter. So when they finished those sidewalks, one way to invite people back to the quarter, let them know it's open, was French Quarter Fest. So you are semi-correct.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it.
Yep. Hey, Jay, in New Orleans, anything else?
No, other than it's interesting. I think they need to redo a lot of those sidewalks at this point. Right?
Well, think about it. It was 40 years ago, so yeah, you're right. A lot of them do need to be redone. Jay in New Orleans, hang on. Jason's going to get some info from you as well. Lynn and Gonzalez, Jay in New Orleans, and you, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Corey Johnson with you on this gorgeous Monday afternoon. Helm Paint and Decorating's been with you over 50 years. We're talking about 40 years of French Quarter Fest, over 50 years Helm Paint and Decorating. When I say New Orleanians that know, go to Helm Paint and Decorating, do it once, do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction. New Orleanians do know, like me. Oh, I don't know why I would even think of going anywhere else. I'm going to get Benjamin Moore high-quality paint. I'm going to get Joey Helm or Keith Main or Ronnie Helm or Christy Helm. Somebody is going to help me out on everything I need. What products do I use? What line of paint? What supplies do I need? Christy Helm helped me pick the color of paint I use to paint my house. No, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, do it once. Do it right. Helm Paint and Decorating. 7 locations in the Metro, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore, plus free 2-hour delivery so you can keep working. Helm Paint and Decorating. Now, that is a New Orleans institution for more than half a century. It goes in the old no-brainer category, a no-brainer. Monday afternoon edition of the program. In a few minutes, Brett Martel will join us from the Associated Press. He's been at it with those guys for over 25 years. Boy, a Canadian couple, tourists, they were going to avoid New Orleans. Their New Orleans friend said, no, you need to come to the city. So they come, and their truck gets stolen in that Basin Street parking lot directly across from the 1st District Police Station. Are you kidding me? Just nauseating. Not a good look. Hey, TV audience, we'll see you tomorrow straight up 4 o'clock, 4 to 5:30 on television every weekday afternoon. Radio audience, thanks for checking us out. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Live streaming, KaareTalks.com. Kaare spelled Kaare. Kaare. KaareTalks.com. We're on YouTube, our fledgling YouTube station. Or YouTube channel, excuse me. I admit it. I'm going to tell you, I'm terrible with social media. I'm like right on the brink. Folks younger than me are really good at social media. Folks older than me aren't so good at it. And there are exceptions. It's like video games. I'm right on the brink. I'm right on the line. Folks younger than me pretty much all play video games. And there are exceptions. Folks older than me, no one plays video games. And yeah, there's some exceptions, just generally speaking. I remember Tecmo Bowl and all that. I was at LSU. Sitting there one afternoon playing these video games, got up to leave my friend's apartment out in Charlo, the Charlo area of Tigerland. I was playing video games for like 8 hours straight. I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it was like cigarette smoking. I was like, I don't want any part of this. 8 hours? I mean, I could waste another 2 or 3 hours tomorrow playing video games, another 2 or 3 hours the next day, play them all night, stay up late, skip school. I was like, I do not need to get into the video games. Literally made sort of a conscious effort, like stay away from video games, sort of. And then never gravitated back after that 8 hours playing. It's ridiculous. New Orleans band, 40 plus years, Law of the Fish album, The Radiators. Good job in Gonzales. Why French Quarter Fest? Because Dutch Montreal was rebuilding the sidewalks in the quarter. It kept people away. French Quarter Fest was a way to re-invite people to check out the quarter. I got 2 other $50 Woodhouse Day Spot trivia questions. Hank, who is famous for sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off, owns which local iconic music club? He's always walking around that neighborhood, doing business in that neighborhood with the sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off. I believe he actually lives above the club. What music club does Hank own in New Orleans? I was there the other night. What makes Willie Mae's Scotch House fried chicken unique, different? Besides, it took an hour for me to get the chicken. One of the slower restaurants in the city of New Orleans. Painfully slow. Hey, I got a life. Can you speed this process up? Oh, darling, don't you worry about it. We got you covered. No, I need a slight sense of urgency. Anyway, what makes Willie Mae's Scotch House fried chicken unique, different? Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480, 766-9480. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. I am a creature of habit. I readily admit it. I mean, I go to restaurants sometimes and the waiter or the people there are like, dude, order something different. They're like imploring me to order something different. I'm like, I've ordered other stuff on your menu. I like this dish. I look forward to this particular dish. I was visiting with Dickie Brennan last hour. When I go to the Palace Cafe, I get that pecan catfish because it's just so damn good. I'm looking forward to having it. I usually get some seafood gumbo because it's so damn good. It's hard to steer me off of it. So, yeah, I'm a creature of habit. Like Mondays, sat outside today at Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Got the red beans and rice. Got the panade chicken with the Italian seasoning and breadcrumbs. Crispy, thin, wonderful. A great lunch special on Mondays, red beans and rice. Pretty much the only, non-Sicilian and Italian dish on the Fausto's menu. Lunch Monday through Friday, like 11 a.m. to 2:30. a nice extended lunch. Dinner Monday through Saturday. Monday through Thursday, they go 5 to 9. Friday and Saturday night, 5 to 10. Fausto or Roland, his brother, are always there. That's why it's great. Great staff, easy parking in front. Outdoor dining on a night like this. White tablecloth outdoor dining. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Really, really good. Yeah, it is a gorgeous day. You can dine outside tonight. Like I said, I did today for lunch. It was fabulous. French Quarter Fest this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. The Louisiana legislators, the legislative session cranked up today. Nearly a $46 billion state budget. That's insane. What a disappointing group, the 105 House reps, the 39 senators. And I'm just talking overall. For decades, for generations, just failing us as citizens. This session, the highlights, I guess, are abortion, education, criminal justice reform, legalizing weed, property insurance, income tax, LGBTQ. Those hyper right-wingers worried about books in the public libraries, public school libraries. And there's like a $2 billion with a B spending surplus, $2 billion. John Bel Edward wants to dedicate it towards roads and infrastructure primarily. I think that's smart since we have about a $15 billion backlog, $15 billion backlog of projects that have to get done. And that's not counting, the dream projects, the stuff you'd like to do to make the state better. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, I guess not really focused on making Mississippi better. Today signed a proclamation. April, Confederate Heritage Month. That's just as oxymoronic as it gets. Confederate heritage? Confederate heritage? Heritage means a special or individual possession. Behaviors that we draw from. Confederate heritage? Oxymoron. Mississippi has the largest black population per capita of any state in the United States. 38%. Like 2 in 5 Mississippi residents are black. 2 in 5. Confederate Heritage Month. Just utterly ridiculous. As dopey and as stupid and as backwards as humanly possible. Speaking of, a Canadian couple, tourists, that were going to avoid New Orleans because of crime. Their local friend said, no, you need to come to our great city. They parked their truck in that big Basin Street parking lot directly across the street from the 1st District NOPD station. Their truck gets stolen. I mean, terrible. The Canadian couple, yeah, we know about the crime. We heard about the crime. That's why we were trying to avoid the city. Just not good. And then their truck gets stolen when they park it across from a police station. That is just so telling. Not a good sign. Not a good advertisement for the city. Not a good message. Not a good image. Terrible. No, terrible. All right, I'm going to come up with something good, the opposite of terrible. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street. Tennis bracelets, diamond necklaces, diamond stud earrings. New Orleanians that know Friend and Company Fine Jewelers when it comes to engagement rings, wedding bands. Real diamonds, natural diamonds at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. All I can say is beware. These so-called diamond stores in Metro New Orleans, they're peddling, they're pushing essentially junk, garbage, man-made, 3-week-old, lab-created diamonds that simply depreciate in value every minute of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year. China is flooding the U.S. market with lab-created, 3-week-old, man-made diamonds. Guys, don't sell her out. Don't try to trick her or fool yourself. Hey, they were less expensive. Yeah, of course they were, because they depreciate in value and they're garbage. They're junk. She's your most important person in your life, your significant other, your girlfriend, your wife. You're getting her diamonds, and you're going to buy something from a diamond store that's lab created, that's man-made, 3 weeks old. Go with the real stuff. $1 billion with a B years old. Where can you get something like that? Anywhere. Natural diamonds, real diamonds. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers is where you get them on Maple Street, in between Broadway and Carrollton. Like Ken Friend says, you got a friend in the jewelry business. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. In 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
We are in the middle of it, crawfish season in Louisiana. Rouse's Markets has your crawfish. You want to boil them yourself? Get them live by the sack at your Rouse's neighborhood market. Or if you want them hot from the pot, ready to eat, Rouse's Markets has you covered all day long. They're boiling crawfish at each and every Rouse's location all day long. So you're not eating warm or cold crawfish. You get them hot from the pot, steaming right in front of you. Live crawfish by the sack. Bring them home and boil them yourself. Rouse's Markets. Hot from the pot, ready to eat crawfish. Rouse's Markets. Best quality, best price, best selection. Truly tastes like home. It's crawfish season. Your neighborhood Rouse's Markets has you covered. Yeah, you right. Tough to beat Rouse's. These are Thibodeau, Homa folks, New Orleans folks, that they know crawfish. It's not some out-of-town operation boiling crawfish. Folks that have been doing it for decades and decades, generations and generations. Hey, speaking of Rouse's, the Rouse's Markets phone lines are open. 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Willie Mae's Scotch House damaged by fire. They're about a block and a half behind Dookie Chase off Orleans. They've got some pretty good fried chicken. What makes Willie Mae's Scotch House fried chicken different, unique? It's different than most fried chicken in town. It's unique. It's got their own kind of process. What is that process? What makes it unique? What makes it different than other fried chicken? Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. If you have the answer to that question, I've got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. He's known as Hank because that's his first name. He's also known, he's famous for wearing sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off. Which music club does Hank own? Which music club does Hank own? I know it's kind of an obscure question, but if you frequent live music joints in and around Metro New Orleans, in New Orleans proper, you know who Hank is with the sweatshirts with the sleeves cut off. What music club does Hank own? Give me the answer to that. I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. The Louisiana legislative session started earlier today. A $46 billion budget. Can you believe that? Insane. $46 billion. There's going to be like $1.5 billion, $2 billion surplus. John Bell Edwards wants to spend that on, most of it, on overdue infrastructure projects, highways and byways, road projects in Louisiana. We've got like a $15 billion backlog. That would be a good idea. a brilliant idea. Hey, every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. River City's Total Maintenance, honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. You can find them at NOLAAC.com. Hey, Brett Martel's back with us. Another Martel Monday. Brett's been with the Associated Press for over 25 years. How you doing, Brett?
Hey, Corey. How are you?
Doing well. The Pels had a lead, kind of blew it in Minneapolis. They fall down the seeding a little bit. What's the deal? Wednesday night, they take on Oklahoma City?
Yeah, it was somewhat costly because if you finish in the top 8, you can basically go 1-1 and advance. If you finish 9th or 10th, you have to go 2-0. So if they had won that game and finished 8th, they would have played the Lakers. If they had beaten the Lakers, they'd be the 7th seed. If they had lost to the Lakers, they would host a do-or-die game. But, just finishing 7th or 8th gives you that margin for error. You can have one bad playoff game.
And if you're 9 or 10, you're one and done if you lose.
Right. You got to go 2-0 just to get to the regular playoffs. So they'll have to win at home against the Thunder. And then they'll have to go on the road on Friday and win against the loser of the Lakers and the Timberwolves. So,
So they're going on the road Wednesday, or they're at home Wednesday, right?
They're at home Wednesday, and then they're going to have to. Right, they have to beat.
So if they beat Oklahoma City on Wednesday, then they've got a 1-game playoff sort of against either the Lakers or Minnesota.
Right, on the road.
On the road. And then they would
Friday.
if they won that, they'd be what, the 8th seed?
They'd be the 8th seed, and they'd visit Denver on Sunday to start the a 7-game series.
Well, you know what I noticed, Brett, in the NBA? On the Eastern side, there might be like 5 teams with a winning road record. I think on the Western side, there's like a couple of teams. Denver's not one of them. Denver has a losing road record. I think Sacramento, the 3 seed, has a winning road record. There's only like 2 or 3 teams in the entire West. I mean, normally you have about 10 teams that have a winning road record in the NBA. This year, it's like about 7. Very hard to win this year for some reason in the NBA on the road.
I think some of it has to do with load management. Teams are more likely to rest players on the road than at home, especially when they're doing back-to-backs on the road during road trips.
Yep, I guess so. I mean, they're less back-to-backs. I just figured you'd have better road records, but the opposite. But you're right. Teams more than ever, I think it's a problem in the NBA, resting star players. I mean, supposedly in Dallas, they had a big crowd from, Serbia for Doncic, and he played about 12 minutes in that game.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's too bad. It's definitely an issue because it is a winning business. And if it's not an entertainment business, you could argue then the winning or losing doesn't matter at all because no one's making any money. So, it's a problem when the main crowd draws are very inconsistently showing up on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I think didn't the Pels play Golden State like a couple of times in a week, and both times Steph Curry did not play in those games at the Smoothie King Center?
And not just him, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson.
Yeah, that just sucks. I mean, you're paying a premium for these tickets, and the stars you come to see on the opposing team don't show up for those games. That's kind of a bummer. Hey, Brett, the Masters, the LIV guys were looking pretty good, still ended up pretty good. Koepka, Phil Mickelson surging, the beloved, what's his name? Was it Patrick Reed?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But I guess the Masters got to breathe a sigh of relief. John Rahm from Spain wins it. Sergio Garcia, Jose Maria Olazabal, and, of course, Seve Ballesteros. This is like the 4th winner from Spain. John Rahm just seems like a class act. He's not an LIV golfer. I guess the Masters people get to Thank goodness.
Yeah, and Rahm is a little bit different background from the other Spaniards in that he went to Arizona State, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Basically, came and played college golf in the U.S. before joining the tour, and I'm pretty sure he's married to an American, and so his kids are American. I'm pretty sure about that.
No, I think you're right on the money. The rain wreaked havoc at the Masters, but they did a damn good job keeping it going, getting the water off the course, making it as good as possible.
I mean, pretty impressive. I didn't think they'd finish on Sunday night.
Nope.
And they did. They pulled it off. So
that green system they have two parts. Under the greens is like an intricate multi-million-dollar system. One heats the greens. They can run like hot water through these pipes to keep the greens from freezing over when the weather, in the off season, the winter, it gets cold. And second, they have some kind of drainage system that just sucks the water off the greens to keep them from puddling up or getting saturated. So lots of moolah invested underground. You can't see it, the greens at the Masters, and it works.
Yeah, well, in the immortal words of Chevy Chase's 80s character Fletch, it must have cost hundreds.
I think it was a few $100, no doubt about it. Brett Martel's with us from the Associated Press. LSU Lady Tigers national champ, still enjoying that. Haley Van Lith, this starting point guard for Louisville, she got her degree in 3 years. She's in the transfer portal, an Elite 8 team in Louisville. They're losing her with Wilson heading to the WNBA. Kim Mulkey could use a point guard.
Yeah, I mean, Alexis Morris is...
Morris, not Wilson. Morris, my bad.
Right, Alexis, right. But Alexis Morris, right, going to WNBA, her eligibility is all used up.
Yep.
So she declared for the draft, but it wasn't really a news event because she wasn't coming back anyway. But it's a funny thing about women's basketball. I mean, up until maybe even this current age of NIL or whatever, or recently in the WNBA, I mean, some of these women that play college basketball, they may go to graduate school to become professionals, engineers, lawyers, and doctors, and make more money than they would in the WNBA.
Oh, Angel Reese said it. I make more money in college than I'll make when I go play for the WNBA.
Right, and so it's actually a thing where a women's college basketball star will use up her eligibility, and then she'll still have to say, "Hey, I'm going to the WNBA draft. I'm not quitting basketball to become a lawyer." It's like that hardly ever happens on the men's side, right? I mean, it's pretty rare, but on the women's side, it happens. So,
Kim Mulkey utilizing that transfer portal big time, Brett, and great recruiting. She got the number 1 class coming in for this year. 9 new starters. She gets them gelling, playing together. They win the national championship. Angel Reese was one of them, transferring over from Maryland. It would be a coup to get Haley Van Lith. Reportedly, it's between LSU and Iowa. There's talk of her teaming up with Caitlin Clark in the backcourt, be an All-American backcourt in Iowa. But teaming up with Angel Reese, you'd have a couple All-Americans right there as well. So she's got a tough choice to make.
Yeah. I don't think it's that tough a choice because, I don't know. I mean, Angel Reese is an elite power forward and a dynamic one at that who can guard the perimeter but also play inside. And if you're a point guard, to have an elite, to have maybe one of the best, maybe the best big in the country in your team is a big deal.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that just makes them as an all-around offense just so much more dangerous. So, and then there's the Kim Mulkey factor.
Yep. Yep. No, you're right.
And, but I mean, it's just my opinion. It's not much of a choice. I mean, look, there may be something about Iowa that she likes. She may find, Caitlin Clark to be a transcendent player in other ways. I mean, nobody shoots or has ever shot like her that I've seen in women's basketball.
I think Caitlin Clark could play on some men's college teams. She's like Steph Curry. She bombs. Anytime she's past the half court circle, you better be on it because she'll jack it up from 28, 30 feet. Hey, Brett, real quickly, how can folks check out your stuff via the AP?
Yeah, apnews.com on the laptop or the AP News app on our website. Get your news from all over the world. But to that point, I think Kim Mulkey could probably coach men's college basketball teams too.
Oh, no doubt. She could coach an NBA team probably. Brett, always a pleasure. Another Martel Monday in the books. Corey Johnson with you. That's Blue Boys saying see you tomorrow at 4 p.m.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.